Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. We'll call this meeting to order. And Ms. Julie stepped out for a minute, but we do have a quorum. So let's go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and Ms. Jordan's going to lead us in those. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. And Mr. Puente, you'll lead us in invocation. Amen. Thank you, Mr. Puente. Yeah, they switched the flags on us. What happened? Yeah.
Oh, she just dropped that off.
Oh, okay. Yeah. City ordinance. I'll have her send it to email it to everyone then, so everybody has it. I'm just curious about it. Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Not a lot of changes since last time. Okay. So we'll get into public comments. Do we have? Okay. And if I wonder if we should just move the public comments to after the executive session to give people a chance to get here. You guys want to do that? Okay. Let's do it. All right, Mr. Bennett. Hopefully they'll get here and not we'll deal with it.
There's two other people on the way. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
There's some civility here. All right, let's go ahead and talk about exactly what just occurred. And I want to step back to Arlington ISD when Ms. Pena was nominated. First off, I should have 5 minutes. You went there, did not sign up by 3 o'clock. Gerald Miller and I signed up by 3 o'clock. We spoke. They passed you over. But you raised your hand. Was it because you're a former school board official? You got leniency. Leniency. You got up to speak. I was heading to my car. I turned back to the monitor, and you were speaking. How could you speak if you didn't follow the rules? So don't do what you're supposed to do, but do what I say. So let's move forward. I appreciate Mr. Diop and Mr. Durham. They violated the rules. They were warned not to do it. They did it. So they threw their votes away. I notified them that night. Mr. Pena was there. You went there to get that vote. You knew they threw away their votes. You went there to ask for some of their votes. I notified them on the 6th through written communication to Ms. Fosberg to give the Wirtz and Fowler and the attorneys. Everybody knew it. So you encouraged them not only to vote, but to give you some of those votes. When the property tax goes very specific, two meetings, 5%, you're done. Let's talk about Mr. Warnham. I mean, this is what's wrong with TAD. You're supposed to put your hand up in the air and swear fidelity. We don't do that here. You don't do it in other places either. I've been to meetings all over this county. He's been fighting property tax valuation, taking charitable contributions and shipping them off to Cook's Hospital. Even in his application, he said he's doing it for the last 10 years. He's been scrubbing his websites. The man doesn't belong on the ballot. Then we got the president of the school board up there, Steve Sprouse, using his public communications to promote a private candidate for private gain. That's using public assets. And let's move on a little further with your guy, Fort Worth. Okay, thank you. Alan Blaylock. He's communicating with Miss Woodell over here like it's his private office. That's public money, public asset, public. Tara Holt, his assistant, communicating with TAD so he can run for private gain using his public assets. I understand the sheriff's department called. They're not going to do anything about it, naturally. But these are the people that we have on this board. And Mr. Martinez, I gave you the roadmap to dial down on this software, and you want to know about my weight loss.
Time is up.
25 questions. I give it to this board.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett.
All the things that occurred before didn't have to.
Mr. Burnham?
Good morning. I'm Lon Burnham, and I thought I was going to be on time until it took me about 10 minutes to get through the intersection
I was stuck there, too.
at Edaville, getting off the freeway. Listen, you know, Mr. Bennett and I don't agree on a whole lot of things, particularly when it comes to national politics, but we have been working closely together on a number of local government issues. And I don't even agree with everything he said today, but I really do think it's important that this agency go about the business of reforming itself. I think it's kind of self-evident, everything that you've seen in the newspaper. And I have been here a number of times over the last year and a half talking about various specific items, but I just am concerned about the nature of the campaigning to get onto this board by a certain city council member. And once again, I don't agree with everything Mr. Bennett has to say, but in general, philosophically speaking, we have the same concern, and that is all too often local government's not run in the public interest, it's run in the private interest, and we need to rectify that. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Dodson?
Good morning. I'm George Dotson, Colleyville. I come to share some items. As I mentioned before, I hope the board focuses on the security of TAD data, and the processes are in place to have all the data backed up offsite, as well as having detailed plans to deal with possible disaster. It's very clear to me, given the glitches that we've observed in the TAD computer operations in the past, that shortcuts were taken, were not properly planned and executed. I hope the board members are being briefed on the plans to deal with these areas, and it's being done as soon as possible. Also hope there are plans, again, to audit the Aumentum system used at TAD. Should be clear there are many other appraisal systems available on the market. In fact, last week I learned that there are as many as 10 different systems used in the state, and there should be no reason that we should be using a system that's only used by one organization in the country. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. In the past, it's way past time to have the audit completed. It's also my hope that some of the key talents and experiences required for the chief appraiser are that they have managed successful information systems organizations in the past, and that they are focused on customers by whatever their past or activity has been. I ask the board to deeply examine the background, experiences, and problems of individuals that are under consideration for the chief appraiser position prior to offering that position to a candidate. Clearly, these qualities are critical to the future success of the entire TAD organization. The information systems are essential. The organization can't run and we've seen the results of poor operations in the past. So again, I've offered to my assistants to help in any way for details about what can be asked. And again, the investigation needs to be very deep and thorough. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Dodson. Ms. Julie, do you have anybody else? Okay. All right. Well, then we'll go ahead and move to closed session. We're going to recess.
Mr. Chair,
Uh-huh.
we published the public comments would be 5 minutes each, and we took it down to 3. If we know we're going to do that, can we publish it on the agenda that way next time?
Sure. Yep. What we've been doing is on called meetings, we do it 3 minutes because usually we have a short amount of time, and just in respect of everybody's time on the board here to get done what we're supposed to get done, we shrink it to 3 minutes.
It
Okay.
was just published differently, and I feel like we can make that adjustment.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Yes.
We're going to recess into executive closed session pursuant to the following parts of the Texas Open Meetings Act, Government Code, Chapter 551, for the following purposes. 551.074, deliberation on the employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee related to the search for a permanent chief appraiser. Section 551.076, deliberation regarding security devices, security software, or security audits. Section 551.071. These keep getting longer and longer. Deliberation on a matter in which the Board of Directors seeks advice of its attorney about contemplated litigation, or on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Open Meetings Act, related to the statements made by Tarrant Appraisal District's former Director of Information Services regarding the Tarrant Appraisal District's information systems. All right, that will recess the closed session. So we'll call this meeting back to open session. Looks like it's 10:07. Not really any action that we need to take today, but Mr. Tepper is going to make a statement about the investigation that we started back, I don't know, a couple of months ago. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that the board and public understood that there was a big investigation with breach of the system. That investigation is still underway. And the data that I would committee provided
Thank you, Mr. Tipper. Outside of that, we do have some called meetings that we're going to go ahead and put on the calendar as the search for a new chief appraiser heats up a little bit. So we're going to have another meeting on December 8th at 8 a.m. and then on December 11th at 8 a.m. as well. We have our scheduled meeting on December 14th at 9 a.m. That one's going to stay as is. And then we're also putting on the calendar a 12/21 meeting at 8 a.m. We're hoping that on that one would be when we are announcing the new chief appraiser. So just sort of kind of everybody knows the timeline for that. Any comments or questions? Except for the 14th. That one's already on the calendar at 9 a.m., so we're going to leave that one. That's a regular scheduled meeting. And for all those meetings, Ms. Waddell, would you state that we're going to do a 3-minute public comment for each of those? Yes, the called meetings. The regular meeting, we'll leave it at 5 minutes as it's always been. But the called meetings, we'll do them for 3 minutes. And if we don't have any other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All right, all those in favor? Thank you. We're adjourned.